Recently I beat Ultrakill in under an hour with one of its worst weapons, so I thought it would be interesting to try the same challenge, but with one of the best. But first we're going to need to lay down some rules for the run. The first rule is I have an hour to beat the game. Duh. The second rule is I can only use the sword on and my arms as my weapons. The third rule is I'm going to say I can't clip out of bounds. This is for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's more interesting to play the game. Number two, I suck and can't do most of them. And number three, this would be way too easy. If you could go out of bounds, you could do the game in like 20 minutes if you knew what you were doing. With that being said, and me not being a speedrunner established, I wanted to try and go through the entire game with what is probably the most broken weapon in under an hour. And this is how it went. Now when I say that the sword-on is the most broken weapon, that's not me saying it's the best. I would argue that the jumpstart nail gun is the best weapon in the game right now, but I would argue the sword-on is the more broken weapon, because of how easy it is to use. This weapon has gained a bit of a reputation for being a new player's wet dream. All you do is you grab this weapon, you hold right click, and suddenly half the game just kind of falls over and dies. This is very evident by how I'm just glossing over Prelude in the back here, because holding right click on this thing one-shots pretty much 90% of this entire layer. The only enemies that don't get one-shot are the two mandatory Maurices, the Swords Machine, the Schisms, and the Cerberuses. But even then, it deals with them pretty quickly. The entire layer kind of doesn't stand a chance against this thing. The only thing that lasts for even a small amount of time is the two Cerberus fight in O-5, but you can line up both the Cerberuses and let go of right click to launch the sword on into both of them at the same time. It deals with them pretty quickly. It's almost like it was designed for this layer. It's crazy. So after a very short and uneventful amount of time, we're going to go straight on to Limbo. Now if you watched my video or I did the entire game with just the default piercer, you'll know that I complain that I suck at the game and can't hit drones to save my life. Now imagine having the exact same issue, except now I don't have a hit scan weapon to carry me. Yeah. No, this was annoying. I already suck at hitting these things, and now I have to, like, time it properly. I kind of just gave up and started using the whiplash and punching them in the face. I mean, you know, it works. As for the first two levels of Limbo, there really isn't anything special going on, except for this. I was trying to do slam storage on this wall to just jump up to the top, but I ended up not doing slam storage, ground slamming onto an enemy and getting a shitload of height out of it. Other than that, there really isn't anything interesting in this level other than the bad song at the end, so 1-3 time, which is one of the shortest levels in the game, despite it being one of the longest levels in the game. And that's because we can just hop into this hole, grab the blue skull, open the final door, grab the soap, one-shot the hideous mess, and then go on to kill V2. Now you're probably thinking, if I struggle to hit drones because they're so small and so fast, then I'll probably struggle to hit V2 because he's small and fast, but no, he's actually kind of like really stupid, and he's really easy to hit with this thing. I don't know why, I don't know what the difference is between him and drones, but he is really easy to hit with the sword on, and also, it's pretty easy to juggle the sword on and parry him at the same time, so it actually is one of the fastest fights in the game. Which is not what I expected, probably not what you expected either, but here we are. Moving on to Lust, where we don't play the first level, and then we hardly play the second level. A lot of people seem to forget that this level's challenge is literally to beat it in under a minute. It's pretty easy to skip most of the level. And then we actually do have to play the third level, which is unfortunate because I'm not the biggest fan, but, you know, I think we can move past this little hiccup in the road. And then we get straight onto Corpse King Minos. Yeah, this layer is fast. Of course, I can't skip out of bounds because that would break one of my rules, so I have to fight the hand, which took a really long time last time. But it's actually really fast, like, surprisingly fast with the sword on. I don't know why this thing is so good at hitting the hand. It's probably because it's a giant hitbox, but it's really good at taking this thing out, like, exceptionally good. I was not expecting it. And then it's exceptionally bad at taking out the actual Corpse King Minos because you can't hit him. He's too far away, he's all the way over there. Luckily, parrying his fists does like a million damage to him, so it's not really a big deal, and we can move straight on to Gluttony. Gluttony is another really short one. I know, crazy. The layer with only like 1.5 levels in it is short. What? I know, insane. I thought I'll use the time in Gluttony to give a little bit of an update on where we're at right now. After Gluttony, I'm about 18 minutes into the run, which is pretty similar to the time it took me to get through with the default piercer. You might be thinking, oh, that's weird. How can it take the same amount of time if you're saying the sword is so much better? Well, you gotta imagine, I'm not clipping out of bounds this time. And also, I'm not really taking advantage of the sword on's higher DPS because all the enemies in Act 1 are so weak. The real time save is going to be in Act 2 and in Violence. We're on track to beat the challenge, but I think we're going to do a little bit more than beat it by the end. I think we're going to win pretty confidently. Greed is the second layer we start by not playing it, and then 4-2 gives us our first taste of dual-wielding chainsaws. And by dual-wielding, I mean tri-wielding. And by tri-wielding, I mean quad-wielding. Is that a thing? It's a thing now, because I've got 4 chainsaws. And honestly, it's not as good as you'd expect, because you can't really juggle more than one at a time with just your fists. If I had a jackhammer to juggle them with, this would be pretty good. But I don't have a jackhammer, and even if I did have a jackhammer, I am not that good at the game. So, yeah, this isn't as good as it looks, I'm gonna be real. And I don't even get to use it on the interactionist because I'm just slow. So, that kinda stank. Now, because I've restricted myself from using out of bounds exploits, I'm not gonna jump out the hole in the ceiling, despite it not really being an out of bounds exploit and more being, you know, a literal hole in the ceiling. So I'm gonna actually play this level, despite it not being one of my favorites. It's not a very difficult level. The only mildly challenging room is the one with the 4 pillars, because I summon them all at the same time, because I'm not a fucking pussy like that. You'd think the final room would be difficult, but soap. So, it's not very hard. You know what? The V2 rematch also wasn't very hard. This was actually way easier than I was expecting. Back with the default piercer, this actually took a pretty significant amount of time. It was probably the majority of my time in Greed. But with this thing, he just kind of falls over and dies. Like, even with the bigger arena and the faster movement and the more varied amount of things he can do, he still somehow just ends up running into the saw blade and killing himself. Honestly, it's like he's a magnet to it, or like a moth to a flame. You know what I'm saying? Genuinely wasn't expecting it to go this quick. I was expecting it to be easier. Just not this much easier. Like, oh my god, holy time save, dude. Wrath is where the more tanky enemies start becoming a lot more common, so I can get a lot more mileage out of my upgraded DPS with the sword on. And by a lot more mileage, I mean sentries don't really stand a chance. Really isn't a lot to say about 5-1. It's a very bulk standard level with nothing very interesting about it. You kind of just play it how you would play it normally, really. So we're going to jump straight to 5-2. And by jump, I mean jump over 5-2. Except I'm lying, because I still don't know how to do the skip with the streak cleaner. I never bothered to learn it. So once we do the room that I could skip but can't be bothered to skip, we put the skull down and then we fight the ferryman, who is not very hard. 5-3 is yet another really long level in the game that you can skip most of by just ignoring the enemies. There's a couple of big rooms that you have to fight through, yeah, but it's nothing too bad, and once you get past the rocket launcher, everything is skippable from that point on, except for the one room that isn't. I just want to mention, I made a short about how you can skip the rocket launcher using the button outside the map, and I was like, oh, people probably already know about this. It's not going to get like that many views, but it's just a cool little thing. It has very quickly become like the most viewed short I have ever made. I didn't think it was that niche of knowledge, but here we are. That's cool. I probably made all of about 10p from 150,000 views, so yeah, thanks YouTube. And then, my favorite level in the game, Leviathan. Oh boy, I just love this, it's so cool. It's so cool. I love when it does that one attack, and then it does the other attack, and those are the only 2 attacks it has. I love that, that's so cool. You just jump on its back, and then you hold right click on its little gunk stump. Yeah, that's what I'm calling that from now on, the gunk stump. Unlike Wrath, I actually like Heresy. 6-1 used to be my favourite level in the game, and then Violence came out. So, sucks for Heresy. But this level, pretty cool, even though you do skip most of it. The only real rooms you have to do is the first room, the one with the weird blood columns, and then you jump in the lava and skip that one room, and then you go into the city and you skip absolutely everything after the city, and then you do the final room. When I say it like that, I make it sound really easy, and that's because, yeah, honestly, this level, like, considering how this level is relatively late in the game, it's really not that hard. Think about it for a second. The only hard bit this level, I guess, is like the dual hideous masses at the end, but they're really not that bad. They kind of just die. I'm gonna be real, they kind of just die. So after finishing up 6-1, we can take another little breather while we, you know, kill Gabe, because he's not very hard, we don't need to worry about him. And we can talk about our progress so far. It's actually, like, very neck and neck with the Piercer run. We're about 40 minutes through the run, and we're at the end of Act 2, giving us 20 minutes to do all of Violence. Which is pretty much exactly the same as when I was doing it with just the default Piercer, but then again, you need to remember, can't go out of bounds this time. Gotta actually play all the levels. Which is a much bigger downside than I was expecting. I really wasn't expecting it to get this close, and I really wasn't expecting not being able to go out to bounds to lose as much time as it does. However, now that I'm saying it, I shouldn't be as surprised as I am. And now, despite just how brutally long 7-1 was with the default Piercer only run, it's way better this time. It's still really fucking long, don't get me wrong, but mannequins don't take like 20 years to die now. They actually die pretty quickly because I can just run into them Chainsaw Man style. I've never actually watched Chainsaw Man, I don't know if that's a reference or not. The level has a lot of unskippable rooms that you have to fight through, as we all know, and then it's got the whole underground section with the Minotaur, and the Minotaur, fighting the Minotaur with sword on, sounds like it really shouldn't be that hard, and honestly, it's not that hard, it's not that bad. It's just kind of annoying to have to hit the little flesh sack underneath it, because you can't hit the rest of the Minotaur because it's got the armor, you gotta hit its stomach. But it's a really small hitbox, and you need to like angle your sword on down so it kind of hits the floor sometimes, and then sometimes it will get like stuck in the Minotaur for a second, which will fuck up your timing. It's a little bit annoying. It's a little bit annoying. Despite that, we kill the Minotaur not once, but twice, and we go on to the best level in the game. The only problem with the best level in the game is that we don't actually get to play it. The level is literally designed for you to not play it. The whole challenge is to not kill a single enemy, and the level is designed around you being able to avoid encountering any enemies whatsoever. Except, my incredibly smart brain completely forgot about that whole thing at the end of the level, and instead of taking the very fast, clever, secret route to not spawn any enemies in the library, I spawned all of the enemies and killed them, and forgot that I could completely skip them entirely. Good job of me. Now you're probably looking at the timer and thinking, wow, you've got 15 minutes to complete 2 levels in the game, and they're not known for being the longest levels. I mean, 7-3 is a very short level, which you can beat in 2 minutes usually, and then 7-4 you can skip the majority of by just jumping over it. So how is this going to become close? How are we going to have tension for the video? Well, you see, never underestimate the hubris of a dumbass on the internet. I had to go and turn on Marked for Death. Again. You know, I was thinking like, oh, well, it went so well last time, it's gonna go well again this time. No, it didn't. No, it didn't at all. So I somehow managed to spend 5 minutes in 7-3, because the final room took me so long, because I forgot that I don't really have a long-range option like I did with the Piercer. The Sword-On is a pretty close-range weapon, and the final room is full of enemies that punish you being close range, which I didn't think of. So a little bit of throwing by me. It definitely didn't help that I was recording this at like 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna record this now of all times. What a good idea. That probably didn't help. But you know, despite that, we've got 10 minutes to beat one little Earth Mover. It's not exactly a Herculean task, let's be real. So we do what we've been doing for the entire run. Skip half the level and not play it. We get the security system to kill itself as usual. We go in and bash some idols' faces in. We go and... I don't even know what we do to the brain, honestly. I kind of screwed this one up like real bad, but whatever. It's dead, who cares? And now we do what is quite possibly the single worst exit sequence I think I have ever done in my life. I genuinely don't know how I fucked it up this hard, and I came this close to fumbling the bag. Like, you can see the timer went up when I jumped on the event at the end. That means you fucked up, okay? Like, you have more than enough time. The timer should not go up when you jump on that event. It should go down. Despite me being a paid actor and throwing right at the end, we beat the game in 54 minutes and 42 seconds, which, I'm no scientist, but that's less than an hour. So I would say that is mission successful. We have beat Ultrakill in under an hour with just the sword on. Who could have fucking guessed? This weapon's broken, honestly. I can't believe it hasn't been nerfed yet. I mean, come on. Like, people just play the entire game with this and nothing. Hey, so thanks for making it to the end of the video. This one took longer to make than most of them. Who could have guessed? Fan art. I haven't seen it because I'm recording this before I picked it out, but it's probably cool. I'd put money on it.